Julian English, worked for FMC. We published Dentistry magazine. It has a 70% readership, independently verified, and it goes out to 22,786 dental professionals every 2 weeks. Most interesting story, there have been a few, not one stands out over the others, but Rosie Winterton in 2006 at the BDA conference, when the dentists from the BDA decided to gang up on her, and they really asked her so many searching questions. And dentists are pretty intellectual, particularly the middle-aged ones, and they read a lot of newspapers, they understand politics a lot better than, say, your average man in the street. And they fired questions at her and showed her up to know very little about dentistry. I quite enjoyed that, which is a bit cruel and macabre, but it was entertaining, and her job is to know dentistry, and it was quite clear she didn't. But she upped her game for later on and came back strong. Another interesting story, I'd say the 2006 dental contract, when we're in the position now that we were in 2006, which was we were waiting for this new contract. It had been worked on, everyone had agreed it, we'd done some pilots, the pilots were working out well, and then the government just decided to launch a completely different contract. It didn't look anything like that had been negotiated with the BDA. It looked totally different, and it included units of dental activity, which, as we know, have been hugely unpopular. So that was a story that ran and ran. In fact, it's run for almost a decade now. And I'd say those are the main two stories. Right, it's difficult to put into words. There's significant pressure. We've got 15 magazines, over 110 publications a year. So if you divide that by weeks, that's a magazine to go to press every 2 weeks. So we work on a 2-week cycle for Dentistry magazine, and sub-editing, proofing, writing, design, and approval process. It's late nights quite often, and there's significant pressure involved. The requirement to get things right and get things accurate is obviously extremely high in a profession such as dentistry, and it means that we all have to really focus on it. The variety of work is exceptional. Get to meet great people, I get to do some good travelling, and there are 99% of the job I really enjoy, and the other 1% is just a challenge and me being grumpy. We screen them. We've got an editorial advisory board for each magazine, for every magazine, and we ask the board, or certain members of the board who are experts in the field, to review papers to make sure that they're appropriate. We then have a features list, or we have an idea of what subjects or topics we're going to be covering in any one period of time or month. And so we might have a call for papers on a certain subject, e-cigarettes for example, or it's oral health month at the moment, so we could be looking at papers on what people are doing during oral health month, or periodontics or oral health in general around that time. So that's what we'll plan, that November, December time, and then roll it out throughout the forthcoming year. And so we use the board to review papers to make sure they're right. We've got a vast amount of experience in the team. We've got me with 20 years. We've got other people with 10 plus years in the editorial department. And we've got access to great people as well. So having done it so long, we've got quite good contacts. So we never really worry about something coming in being too technical or not being appropriate and it's sneaking into print, and that hasn't really come up. Obviously, one's not perfect, and in 20 years it's going to happen every now and then, but it's very, very infrequently, and we've certainly got systems in place to ensure that we're not publishing nonsense. My experience is gained from information, and the information I gain from editorial advisory boards and talking to people, BDA conference, exhibitions, events, etc. And people are very busy these days, social media is big, people are online a lot more, and magazines are still strong and still relevant in dentistry, but people have a much less time to be able to read magazines and articles. So bullet points, you're absolutely right. Bullet points, very important, short, sharp facts. And we tend to find that with the magazine that people dive into it, read a bit, and then come back out maybe during a break or during lunch, and that's how they consume the magazine. So the shorter and punchier an article is, the more likely it is to be accepted and more likely it is to be read better.